But tell me, man, why do you believe that Jay and Puffy is close, even though Jay lawyer came out and said they're not?
Because JayZ and Puff was given an
No artist, let me be clear, there's no artist in this industry that's doing major numbers with these platforms that haven't sold.
Imagine the biggest icons in hip-hop entangled in a ruthless game of secrets, betrayal, and power plays. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard turned whistleblower, has unleashed a revelation that rattles the very core of rap's golden age, claiming JayZ wasn't merely watching as his rival faltered, but was armed with evidence so explosive it forced Diddy into silence. According to Deal, this wasn't just about music or business, it was about survival in an empire built on influence and fear. The story paints JayZ not simply as a billionaire mogul with an unshakable poker face, but as a calculating strategist who mastered the art of holding devastating leverage. The haunting question remains, what was this evidence, and how far would JayZ go to use it?
JayZ got his whooped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You gotta imagine, the feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your whooped.
Gene Deal's revelation drags us back to a haunting night in 1996, a party remembered more through whispers than headlines, where the atmosphere pulsed with stars, laughter, and the swagger of an era burning bright, yet beneath the glitter and champagne haze, rumors claim a camera was quietly recording what it captured. Some insist was far darker than celebration. It may have shown a secret meeting tying Diddy, then known as Puffy, directly to the plot that ended Tupac Shakur's life in Las Vegas. Was it evidence of a whispered deal between rivals, a flash of uncontrolled rage, or something far more damning, a visual link connecting Puffy to the $1 million bounty that Southside insiders long murmured about? In a world where a single recording has the power to rewrite history, the possibility of such a tape hidden in JayZ's vault becomes a chilling explanation for why a figure as influential and untouchable as Diddy might have been forced into silence.
I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
Court records from Las Vegas now reveal a chilling narrative showing Diddy's name surfacing 47 times in a confidential police interview with Kai, who alleged Puffy was prepared to spend millions to eliminate Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. Following the release of the fiery diss track hit M Up with the line, "I'll give anything for that dude's head," leaping from the transcript like an omen. Pair this with the long-circulated rumor of a secret tape from that infamous 1996 party footage. JayZ, ALLEGEDLY, poses stand. Suddenly, Gene Deal's claims shift from idle gossip to something far more sinister. If Jay truly held such material, he wasn't just a rapper climbing charts, he was the man clutching the detonator in an industry already rigged with explosives. The story takes an even sharper turn when we fast forward to only months ago, when JayZ himself was dragged into headlines as a lawsuit named him alongside Diddy in one of the most grotesque accusations imaginable. A case that initially made waves but then evaporated almost as quickly as it appeared. The plaintiff withdrew. Statements were recanted and the entire affair dissolved into smoke. Was that a coincidence, or another calculated move on the same chessboard? A reminder that in Jay's rarefied world, inconvenient threats are neutralized before they take their first breath. It's hard not to see how eerily this mirrors Deal's. Whispers, evidence surfaces, pressure builds, and then it all vanishes under mysterious circumstances. To grasp the weight of these allegations, one must examine the empire JayZ has constructed. A journey from the Marcy projects to the Forbes billionaire list, where he has operated like a man, not merely surviving storms but orchestrating them, profiting from chaos while others collapse. He has admitted that his crack dealing days in Brooklyn taught him the essentials of business budgets, risk management, exit strategies, and if that same cold precision were applied to the realm of secrets and leverage, then the danger magnifies beyond imagination, especially if he truly possessed the right tape, the right file, or the right whisper delivered to the right federal agent. This is why the rumor of the FBI blackmail files refuses to fade. Insiders claim Jay wasn't simply shielding himself with damning evidence against Diddy, but may have strategically fed portions to federal authorities, ensuring that while Diddy's empire crumbled under raids, indictments, and shocking human trafficking allegations, Jay remained untouchable, perched atop the summit. The timing is telling. Federal agents stormed Diddy's mansions, uncovering weapons, substances, and disturbing paraphernalia that fueled headlines, casting him as an East Coast R. Kelly. Cassie Ventura's testimony about degrading freak-offs in hotel suites ripped the lid off the private nightmare of his relationships, and every new revelation tightened the screws while JayZ floated above it all, still adored on red carpets, still profiled as a billionaire mogul. Was this immunity mere luck, Or was it leverage, the kind of leverage born from passing the right folder into the right hands at the Southern District of New York?
We once worked together a long time ago. They're not friends now. They don't like each other. And yeah, 50 has taken every shot, especially when Diddy has been down.
Gene Deal's revelations force us to view these events not as scattered scandals, but as the fallout of a decades-long power struggle between two of hip-hop's most towering figures. Diddy, once the charismatic mogul who transformed Bad Boy into a household name, now finds himself in chains staring down the possibility of life behind bars, while JayZ, once brushed off as just another hustler with clever rhymes, has ascended to become the wealthiest musician in the world, untouched by the infernos consuming those around him. The balance of their stories shifts dramatically when we consider the possibility that JayZ held the ace card all along: footage, files, confessions, or whatever evidence tying Diddy to the darkest night in hip-hop history. And if so, this is no tale of mere survival but one of calculated destruction. The most chilling thought is that if Jay played this card once against his most flamboyant rival, what would stop him from doing it again? How many other tapes, files, and secrets might sit locked away, ready to be deployed the moment another threat rises? In an industry built on alliances that evaporate overnight and loyalty that rarely outlasts the next album cycle, leverage is the only true currency, and perhaps JayZ's real genius was never just in beats and bars but in holding the receipts others feared might surface. If the rumors of FBI blackmail files are real, then every scandal we've seen could be nothing more than the opening act of a much larger drama. The evolution from allies to enemies, from celebrating together at the top of the charts to circling each other with suspicion, marks one of modern music's most mysterious unravelings. Once photographed side by side, trading verses, popping bottles, and projecting the image of unstoppable partnership, Jay and Diddy looked like the kings of New York who turned street hustle into boardroom dominance. Yet behind the flashbulbs, paranoia brewed, as two moguls of equal ambition quietly sat on secrets that could dismantle one another. Inevitably, that bond cracked, and whispers of blackmail and hidden footage transformed their glamorous friendship into a silent standoff. The tension grew, palpable collaborations thinned, public appearances became strained, and insiders whispered about who was watching their back and who was quietly sharpening the knife.
Needed to show that there was an agreement, that the organization knew what it was doing, that it was an enterprise, not in law, but in fact, that people understood the object of the enterprise, which was to promote Sean Combs and his brands and sort of fulfill any deviant desires he may have had, and then to cover up any crimes committed over the course of fulfilling the desire.
Hip-hop in the 90s was never just about beats and rhymes. It was a battlefield where record labels operated like armies, and when one titan stumbled, the shockwaves rippled through everyone, from A-list stars to street-level protégés. Diddy's spiraling legal disasters didn't only tarnish his own name, they singed anyone still tethered to him. Yet somehow JayZ emerged completely untouched, his empire expanding even as federal agents raided Diddy's mansions in Cassie. Ventura's testimony painted lurid pictures of coercion and freak-offs. This wasn't simply misfortune for one man and luck for another, it felt like a deliberate shift in power. The quiet dismantling of the old guard to clear space for a new, more ruthless king. Which brings us back to the party of 1996, remembered in gossip as a glittering night of stars, flashing lights and champagne, but rumored to be far darker. Whispers claim cameras were rolling, capturing Diddy in moments never meant for public eyes, and if that footage even hinted at ties to the violence that ended Tupac Shakur's life, it would explain why it has never surfaced. Was it loyalty that sealed mouths, fear of retaliation, or pressure applied in the shadows to ensure silence? Witnesses who may have seen the truth have never spoken publicly, while others rumored to know more have quietly vanished into obscurity. The question hangs heavy: who else is guarding these buried secrets? And what would it take for someone, anyone, to finally break the silence that has kept the darkest chapter of hip-hop history hidden for nearly 3 decades?
And a lot of people saying it's square peg, round hole, that we know that there are multiple jurors on both sides. It's not just one holdout, that on racketeering, they are stuck. But they have reached a decision on trafficking as it results with
The timeline is too precise to dismiss the 1996 whispers of hidden footage, the decades-later resurgence of accusations against Diddy, his name surfacing 47 times in a covert police interview, and the conveniently timed collapse of lawsuits against JayZ just as his empire faced potential cracks. It feels less like random chance and more like the past clawing its way back into the light. Allegation by allegation, federal agents have already shown their determination, raiding Diddy's homes, seizing files, and even working with Shakur prosecutors to reopen old wounds. If JayZ truly fed them pieces of the puzzle, then Diddy's downfall may not be mere coincidence, but the calculated endgame of a strategy crafted and executed across decades, with silence and survival as its sharpest weapons.
Sorry, I'm just like really, I'm in this moment right now. This is crazy. Sorry. People don't really know how much what it does to you when something that you love is taken from you and thrown away like it don't even matter, and then they move on with their lives and you're stuck. You're stuck during those years. You're still stuck 21 years later.
The notion that JayZ and Diddy were merely rivals locked in a private war is dramatic enough. But what if the truth is much larger, stretching far beyond their personal ambitions and control? For decades, the FBI has faced accusations of monitoring hip-hop not just as music but as a cultural force with vast money, influence, and street ties that bleed into politics. Surveillance files on Tupac Shakur and Biggie, along with whispered claims of undercover agents attending industry parties, suggest a government far more invested in controlling hip-hop's power than it ever publicly admitted. If JayZ and Diddy were playing a dangerous game, perhaps they weren't the players at all, but pawns in a wider strategy. Consider the timing of the leaks against Diddy, secret interviews surfacing, damning transcripts slipping into court filings, federal raids. It's staged with almost theatrical precision. These didn't look like random breaks of luck. They resembled a systematic campaign designed to humiliate, dismantle, and strip him of credibility until no one dared stand in his defense. Could federal authorities have orchestrated his downfall as part of a long-term plan to weaken an empire they deemed threatening? And if so, did JayZ survive simply by standing in the right place at the right time, or did he actively align himself with a side that always wins in the end?
The things that I experienced with him were monster-like. That stuff almost destroyed my life.
This theory gains weight when we consider how swiftly the lawsuits against JayZ seemed to vanish. At the peak of Diddy's implosion, Jay's name briefly surfaced in headlines that could have severely damaged his empire, but almost as quickly as the storm appeared, it dissolved. Plaintiffs withdrew, statements evaporated, and the legal clouds scattered without explanation. Was this simply a stroke of luck, or did it reveal leverage born from an alliance with deeper federal powers? If Diddy was being cornered, perhaps Jay was being shielded, not because of innocence but because his role served a larger narrative. The FBI's history of manipulating high-profile figures is long and ugly. While COINTELPRO may belong to the past, its methods divide and conquer. Strategic leaks, controlled narratives remain timeless tools. Imagine the value for authorities in pitting two of hip-hop's biggest moguls against one another, amplifying suspicion and feeding the press with damaging leaks to fracture their influence. In doing so, they could weaken both networks without the appearance of direct control, maintaining the illusion of organic scandal while quietly steering outcomes. If that was indeed the strategy, it worked with ruthless precision. Diddy now faces the fight of his life in federal court, while JayZ remains untouched, yet enmeshed in speculation that could shadow him indefinitely.
Fortunately, we're all going to take a disgusting trip to his seedy, awful world. You know, the man has no class. He has no kindness in his dark, dark heart. And he's depraved. That's my opinion. This is a depraved, disgusting individual about whom I wish to hear nothing after this trial is done.
What's most chilling is the possibility that both JayZ and Diddy underestimated just how closely they were being monitored. Every party, every secret deal, every whispered rumor of tapes or blackmail may not have been locked in private vaults at all, but already preserved in federal archives. When insiders mention blackmail files, perhaps they aren't only referring to what JayZ allegedly held over Diddy, but to something far larger: dossiers compiled by agents who've been pulling strings for decades, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The moguls thought they were playing chess, but they may have been pieces all along.
And her attorney has said that she may not be willing to come and testify anyway, so
be interesting. Okay.
That perspective alters the entire narrative, reframing JayZ not merely as a potential mastermind, but as a survivor navigating forces larger than himself, while casting Diddy not only as a man undone by his own excesses, but as someone systematically dismantled once his empire grew too loud, too powerful, and too threatening to be ignored. If the FBI truly orchestrated this drama, then the downfall of one mogul and the survival of another may have hinged less on personal secrets than on choices of cooperation, resistance, and sacrifice designed to send a message. In that light, the saga grows darker than anything imagined, with industry veterans whispering about an even more sinister possibility: the so-called secret extortion deal. What if JayZ wasn't only holding evidence over Diddy's head, but wielding it as a bargaining chip to demand silence, influence, and business concessions? If true, then every major victory Jay scored in the years that followed may have stemmed not solely from talent, and ambition, but from strategically dismantling his greatest rival from within. Such a vision paints Jay not just as a mogul, but as a master tactician who understood that to create the world's most powerful hip-hop empire, he had to neutralize the one man who could rival his throne. Perhaps this was JayZ's true implication, that what unfolded wasn't rivalry but a silent war fought with tapes, files, and fear.
You know, it's the federal government building a case against you. Maybe you would go for the lesser offer, but again, that would be having to admit that he had did something wrong. And the defense has always maintained that he is innocent, he has done nothing wrong, that this is just, you know, these are just ex-girlfriends that are mad, like just all these types of things that the defense is arguing. But
if that is true, then the hardest question remains: what happens when the pursuit of power stretches so far it leaves bodies behind? Hip-hop has always thrived on bravado and survival, but when survival hinges on silencing rivals, the price becomes terrifying. We now stand at a point where past and present collide, with old secrets resurfacing just as federal agents tighten their grip. And yet, despite the speculation, only a select few truly know what was captured on that fateful night in 1996 and whether it held the power to alter the course of music history forever.
If that's all they got, if that, like for example with Diddy, if that's all they got, he might actually walk free. And in fact, I heard he's getting bail. I'm not 100% sure of this, but I know someone that knows someone in the feds that told him that he's getting bail.
The only thing about Diddy thing that has me scratching my head, and you know I don't doubt nothing they know how to do, is I've never seen a one-man recall.
So the question we're left with is this: was JayZ the ultimate strategist who outmaneuvered every rival? Or is he still sitting on secrets that could one day surface and drag him down to where we may be closer than ever to the truth? But will it emerge in time, or will the industry's most powerful players bury it once again? Share your thoughts below. Are the tapes real, or just another myth meant to keep us guessing?